Welcome to UVCE Chronicles, an initiative of UVCE Graduates Association. I'm Varsha Bhatt from ECE third year.
We're back with our 5th episode, and today's guest is Mr. Srikanth from the batch of 1993 Electronics. Let's hear a brief introduction from himself. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Varsha, and it's an honor and a privilege to be part of UVCE Chronicles. Something that I've been very proud of, being a UVCE alumni and somebody who passed out of the hallowed portals of UVCE. Talking about myself, complete Bangalorean, born, brought up, and studied in Bangalore. There is a lot of history for me and my family with UVCE. My grandfather was from the first batch of UVCE when it was still called as School of Engineering, and he studied in 1913 batch. And after that, a couple of my uncles passed out in 60s. There were totally 6 of me and my first cousins passed out of UVCE. My nephew, niece, and my niece's husband, they are all from UVCE. So I can easily say that UVCE blood runs in me. Okay, so for me, whatever that I am as an engineer, I feel that it is largely because of how things shaped up for me during those formative years in my pre-university, my high school, and a large part of it during my engineering days. And on the personal front, married with a 17-year-old son. My wife, incidentally, my wife's grandfather is again from UVCE. He is the first. He is from the first electrical batch, and he passed out in 1923. So again, there is again a lot of history of UVCE that keeps coming back into our family part of it. We are on the personal side, apart from the engineering thing that I do. I pursue in my spare time farming, and very interested in hiking and trekking. And in the last couple of years, I have picked up painting at home. As an engineer, if I want to share what I do, I've been with Intel as an engineer, and now currently working as a program director. And I have been with Intel since 1998. So that's roughly about 23 years out of the 28 years of working has been with Intel. So if there are two in my professional career, I think Intel has been the company for me, which has shaped my entire career and where I have grown professionally. So that's very. I know I took a little more time talking about myself. This is about what I wanted to share with you, Varsha.
Sir, that was really interesting to hear about how UVCE blood runs in you. In fact, if you take any incidents that has happened in the history of UVCE, there might be some person in your family who definitely was there in UVCE when it was happening.
I actually, yeah, it's so true, Varsha. Actually, there have been when we have some of these alumni meet, my uncle who is almost 78 or 80, who passed out from 1966 batch, he comes. There is a cousin of mine who passed out in 81 batch. There is another cousin of mine who passed out in 83 batch. I passed out in 93. There's another cousin of mine who passed out in 94. My niece who passed out in 2006 or 7, and her husband passed out in 2001. So you can see the number of people whom we have across generations, and immediately we can say, hey, the quadrangle was like this, the library was like that, and many things have not changed, and that actually has a very nice ring to it.
Definitely, definitely. The heritage building. Anyway, so you've spoken about UVC and its importance and how its legacy has grown over time. So, can you briefly share your thoughts on this point so we can all feel proud about being UVCians?
Yes. I think anybody who has passed out of UVC has to feel extremely proud for coming out of this esteemed institution, because this is it's not just the college having passed out of the college. There's the history behind it as to how it came into being and who was responsible for it, and the kind of work that the people who passed out from UVCV have contributed to give you some legacy behind UVC. The whole reason why UVC came into being was when there was a need for more than 5 engineers because of all the projects that were happening in Karnataka. When Sir MV asked for Pune University and Madras University, wherein we had those were the closest engineering colleges, and said we need 5 engineering students to be admitted from Karnataka, but these two colleges said that they can't, and because they were able to take up only 2 students. So, given that KRS had just work had started and a lot of irrigation projects had come up in 1980, between late 1905 to 1910, it was felt that we need to have a college of our own, and Sir MV was the one who went and talked to Nalvadi Krishnaraj Odayar, saying that it's of utmost importance for us to have our own engineering colleges because we need to have our own engineers. And you'll be very yeah, interested to know the kind of vision that he had. He said, for me to build this college, we need to have the right people to start it. The person whom he went and approached was a person by name S.B. Shetty, okay, Subrai Shetty. Uh, Many of the people may not be aware. He was the pioneer in uh, avionics as well as designing of aeroplane engines. Something called Avro, which was used extensively in First World War. He was the person who designed many of these engines in London. And Sir MV actually convinced him to come back, and he was appointed as superintendent of School of Engineering in 1912-13. And it will be interesting to note that he was given full freedom to establish the syllabus for an engineering school. And at that time, it was so many things were being controlled by the British, and Sir MV and Subrai Shetty, these couple of them took so much of care. Within a year, they had a full syllabus for a mechanical engineering and civil engineering in place for the school to start. So that's the kind of spirit that this entire institution was built. And then it became College of Engineering in 1916, and then the rest is history. So the thing is, from that day onwards, if you see the kind of people who have passed out and the kind of folks whom I have met and interacted over the course of several years, it makes me feel immensely proud of being such a coming out from this college. We have 3 Padma Vibhushans, uh, couple of Padma Bhushans, almost 10 to 15 Padma Shris. You have Param Vishesh Seva medal awardees, people who have built the major infrastructure in the post-independence era, be it the power plants, the nuclear power plants, the missiles, the atomic energy, and the thermal power plants, the major irrigation, the almost all the public sector units when they were getting built, people headed that. The Indian Telephone Industries, BHEL, Bharat Electronics, you name the infrastructure that was getting built in the post-independence era, you will see a UVCE and being at the helm and making it happen. The entire NIC, that is National Informatics Center, was something that one man's effort by again from UVC who made it happen. I think it will be a disservice if I don't name some of them. But if I start naming some of them, Varsha, I think probably I'll have to spend next half an hour just reeling out the names. But some of the greatest of the people whom world has recognized has come out of UVC. Be it Professor M.R. Srinivasan, who was Atomic Energy Commission chairman, Professor Radham Narasimha, who is considered as the father of avionics and the aeronautical engineering in India. You have Professor V.K. Atre, scientific advisor. Okay, these were the three Padma Vibhushans. Dr. Sheshgiri, who actually made the NIC implemented. Okay, and you have Lieutenant General Vijay Sundaram, who is better known as the general amongst the scientists in the worldwide, who headed the Prithvi missile program. The out of the 5 missile programs in the country, 3 were headed by UVCNs. The Prithvi, Akash, and Agni, they were all headed by UVCNs, which are Lieutenant General Dr. Vijay Sundaram headed the Prithvi, Prahalad Rao headed the Agni, Prahalada headed Akash missile programs. They were all program directors, and obviously they all, one was PVSM, the other two got Padma Shris. There was this amazing person by name Dr. Ram Kumar, who was principally responsible for implementing some of the most advanced robotics in Baba Atomic Research Center. I mean, I'm just giving you a glimpse of some of the amazing work that happened in those 50s, 60s part of it. The moment you start coming to 70s, you see many of the people who were passing out in 70s and 80s moved from the public infrastructure that was getting built to the lot of corporate and the private enterprises. People who went on to head the cognizant technologies that had to be Accenture, then I think Professor Subbarao, Dr. Subbarao, who headed the L&T. So there were like amazing number of people who headed BV Jagdish, whom many of you will be very familiar with. So these are the people who came in a very strong way to put UVCE on the corporate and the public domain too, from a private enterprise. So UVC did not just stop being a highly academic and enterprising team of people, but we have excelled in something beyond academics. Okay, you will end up seeing whether most of you will be aware of Ramesh Arvind as the film actor, who probably is one of the most acclaimed actors. Again, he's from UVC 1987 batch. But you should also know that Vijay Bhaskar is from UVC. Dattanna is from UVC, who has got so many awards. Incidentally, Dattanna was both an amazing student, not only in UVC, he went on to do his post-graduation and a gold medalist from IAC. He retired as a wing commander from armed forces. Number of people who have been in armed forces. Vasha, so you see, when I keep talking about legacy and legends of UVC, I can go on and on. In the last few years, if you see, you go and look at any of the big corporates, you will see UVC people being at many of the topmost positions, and they have been there because they are leaders, and they have come up in this amazing college where it has made us be rooted to our values, which most of us have come from, which are middle class, and we are rooted to those values, and that's one of the reasons why we have been so successful in the corporate world, or in many of the policy decisions that many of them drove across the country in the public sector as well as administrative services, Varsha. And that's the reason why I'm so passionate and so much at awe whenever I look at the history of UVC.
Absolutely, sir. Like you said, the amount of care and effort that went into it seems enormous. And like you rightly said, the rest is history. So Whatever you shared until now, that's something for all of us to be proud of.
So that was part 1 of this episode, highlighting the legacy of UVCE. Part 2 will focus on the women of UVCE in regard to Women's Day. Stay tuned for that and thank you for listening.